Hey guys, Arjuna here. So today I'd like to talk about something that's been very important to me for my journey and my self-healing, and that is emotional regulation. Now this goes really back into our childhood where we look to our caregivers to regulate our emotions for us. And we are raised by humans and people just trying to do their best, and our emotions aren't always regulated as we need it, and this can create traumas in us and situations where we aren't taught to kind of pacify our own emotions, and we're not kind of taught those skills and tools of how to do that. So we take those into adult life with us, and we form kind of thought cycles and processes and kind of reactions to it. Okay, so I guess for me, a lot of my emotional regulation was very negative as I came into kind of my adolescence, early 20s, because it centered a lot around drugs and escapism. So I would if I couldn't deal with something, I would drink, I would take drugs, even to sharing that I would self-harm. I would allow this emotion to build up so much I didn't know how to release it, so I'd either get drunk and end up kind of being quite destructive, take drugs and not feel great about that either, or I would self-harm, and that became a bit of a cycle for me to kind of release it, which isn't a healthy way of dealing with it. Now I have a lot more tools in my arsenal that I can deal with these emotions. Am I there 100% of the time? Absolutely not, because I'm human and I'm learning and I'm growing, and there's brand new triggers and triggers that are kind of making me reflect on traumas every single day that I have to, we have to deal with, as you have to deal with. But yeah, emotional regulation is something that is really important to me, because I've had a lot of, very fortunate in my therapy, I have dialectical behavioural therapy, where we go into a lot of my behaviours and I can identify where that's coming from. So we sit with things such as the rational and the emotional mind, and bring those together to find a middle ground of where I can sit with calm and be calm. A lot of situations where it would throw me before into a state of anxiety, actually I can sit there and I can check the facts. My mind and the ego are telling me something, oh, they're just out to get you, you're not good enough. Where actually, if I sit and check the facts and take some time, actually that isn't about me, and I am good enough. Whereas before I was very reactive to these things, and I'd throw my body into a lot of chaos, and my emotions would be everywhere. Or I'd reach for some drugs, or I'd reach for a drink. Whereas that's not what I do anymore. You might see here a lot of things I do now to regulate my emotions. So from breath work, if you don't do breath work, you do breath work, let me tell you, but you don't call it breath work and you don't have a structure to it. Breath work is been observing the inhalation and exhalation and having control over that, and taking, when we're thrown into these heightened states of emotion, you start to breathe shallow. And it's just bringing it back, just that centered state, and just bringing it into the deep belly breaths. You can go so far with this, in a lot in yoga, and there's Wim Hof breathing techniques, and you can kind of master it. Very simply, it's just having the mindfulness and just having the awareness of the breath coming in and out, and your body, your belly rising and falling, and that's breath work. Meditation, I can guarantee you do some form of meditation, and that's a way of regulating your emotions. Whether it's 30 seconds, whether it's just closing your eyes for 10 seconds and just taking a deep breath in and out, guided meditation, walking meditation, mindfulness in motion, yoga, being at the gym, just being aware of you pulling that weight. These are all ways of regulating your emotion. Journaling, absolutely swear by journaling. I did a video before, and I'll do so many more videos around it, because my journaling helps me regulate my emotions so much, and look at these tools and tricks to bring it back to me being centered, and make wiser, better decisions. So yeah, it'd be really cool to catch up if anyone wants to touch base on kind of regulating those emotions. There's lots of tools and tricks and tips. It's not anything to be ashamed of. We all do have this little child in us sometimes that runs away and has a little tantrum, and it's just observing that, accepting it, acknowledging, and that's okay, and shining light on it, and then you can make different choices and different decisions. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope this helps.